in the room. Come on in the room. The Bucks are winners tonight, 146-122. You're listening live to the Cream City crossover. Come on in the room. Adrian is our doctor. He writes out all of our scriptures. He gives us all of our medicine in our room. We are live at the Cream City Crossovers, 146-122 victory. The Milwaukee Bucks are headed to Las Vegas after they win their quarterfinal matchup against the New York Knickerbockers tonight. Bucks tape is what we're saying. I'm the guru, Trey Crosby III.
JT.
Chris King.
I just want to let y'all know, Trey, I got my fan ready just in case you start preaching tonight. Just in case you start preaching tonight. You know,
Amen. Walls and electric lights in the building, 146-122. This was a great night for the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's do a little bit of a reset to see what happened tonight. Giannis was your player of the game. Creeps the crossover player of the game. 35, 10, and 8. Added 3 steals to it. 15 of 22. He's shooting almost 70% from the field, and he also knocked down a three-pointer in 33 minutes of work. Dame Lillard came in right behind him, 28 and 7. Chris Middleton, 14, 7 and 4. I'll take it in 26 minutes. Brook Lopez, 9 points, 8 rebounds. And then, of course, you have Malik Beasley with 18 points, 3 boards. He was 6 for 10 from 3. That's 60%. You can't beat that. Bobby Portis puts in 13 and 4. Marjah Beauchamp with 6 points. Derry Bird. AJ Green had 9 points, hitting knocked down some threes. He was 3 for 4. And then Campaign knocked down 12 points as well. You look on the other side, the Knickerbockers. Julius Randle had 41, 6 and 5. RJ Barrett with 23. And Jalen Brunson had 24. But again, it was a 146-122 victory. It was 75-72 at the half. This thing was just a mess. I thought early, Jan. And again, if you want any comments, we'll read your comments as well before we get to that on the YouTube, as well as you can at me at TCIIIESQ. We'll read yours in a second after we get to our initial thoughts. And I'll give mine. First and foremost, again, 75-72 at the half. Bucks gave up 35 and 37 in quarters 1 and 2. In quarters 3 and 4, they gave up 24 and 26. So 50 points in the second half. That'll play. The New York Knicks were the number 3 defense coming into tonight in the entire NBA. You put up 146 on them, that'll play. What really kept New York into the game throughout the first half, John Tyus, Chris King, was the parade to the free throw line. I thought the officials, and again, I try not to be too hard. I was probably a little too hard on the officials tonight. I just thought there was a lot of contact that went on that they got caught. I didn't know Julius Randle had a whistle like that. That's all. I just didn't know he had a whistle that would get into the line 12 times. Giannis only got to the line 9 times. Dame Lillard got there 8 times. The Bucks shot 19 free throws. The Knicks shot 33. But it was the three-point line that really was the other difference in this basketball game. The Knicks were 7 of 23. The Bucks would put up 23 threes, made 23 threes out of 38. That's good for 60%. You're not always going to shoot 60% from 3, but the Bucks were hot. Malik Beasley was hot. Guys were shooting the ball well. And again, you just see it from an offensive standpoint. When the Bucks are on, they're on. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. I absolutely think that between Giannis and Dame, they're basically going to average 60 points between the two of them. If you're playing like that and your offense is that good, you're gonna be in some good shape. And the Milwaukee Bucks are in good shape tonight. Again, a 146-122 victory for the Bucks. They're headed to Vegas. JT, what'd you see?
Man, this is a beautiful, beautiful night for Bucks fans, especially offensively. I think this is exactly what we wanted to see. To your point about the free throws, I'll tell you this. There were only 3 players that shot free throws for the Bucks tonight. 3 players. Bobby Portis time, Giannis, and Dame. That's it, guys. So, yeah, I mean, clearly, that's the first thing, right? Because you talk about missed calls. Oh, yeah, there were definitely some out there. But let's talk that first half. I mean, Giannis having 13 in the first and Dame coming and hitting you with 14 in the second. Guys, I've not seen that last, let's call it 4 minutes in the first half. Wow. Well, Dame go 3 for 3 in the last 4 minutes?
Yeah.
For the 3-point line,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he did a couple different ways. You get a step back in there, but then I saw the pick and stop. I saw Giannis give him a pick at the top of the key, and then he kind of did the lost tourist thing, right, where he just kind of stand there, look around, and Dame fires that thing, and it was a thing of beauty. And I got to tell you, man, in a track meet, in a dog fight, in a slugfest, I love to see these Bucks hitting back, right? You guys know how I feel about this thing. Yeah, people talk about defense. listen, I don't care about defense overall. Can you get a stop when you need it? That's it. That's it. And we got to win every game 140 to 145. Great. I don't care, right? But watching this Bucks team compete and literally trade blows with the Knicks, I was moved by that. Couple things though. First half, by the way, Bucks were shooting 70% from three, 12 for 17, and they shot 65% from the field. That's even wilder to me that you score 72 points and you're shooting better from three than you are from the field, right? And it's not like you only have one or two threes. I mean, 12 threes in the first, 12 of 17 in the first half. I think that's impressive. Man, and we talk about your boy AJ Green, DB, Mr. Derry Bird, three pointers in the first half. 3 for 3. Love to see it. Definitely love to see it. And then look, you talk about that second half, right? I felt like the Bucks kept their foot on the gas. They kept their foot on the gas and opened this thing on up. And man, this is a very good New York Knicks team. This is a much better Milwaukee Bucks team, and we love to see it. So man, MVP of the night, player of the game, Giannis. But I got to tell you, man, John Horst, Mr. Dame time. Every week, it's almost like, wow, I'm really thankful to have this guy in the mix. And again, one time for my guy, Malik Beasley, man. Malik Beasley. I got to get at y'all spec on that man's name. Malik Beasley going 6 for 10 tonight from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of guys just answering the call too. Like AJ Green coming in, only played 9 minutes today, but very efficient in the shots that he took, or I don't know, 9 some amount of minutes. Very efficient in the shots that he took, and knew when to take those shots, and it honestly provided us a spark. And I think when you just go down the line in terms of our bench play, I think that really helped out tonight. But also I want to talk about the second half. I mean, defensively, that's what you're going to need against the Indiana Pacers team who puts up a ton of points as well. So if you can play like that for a full 4 quarters, hey, I was even happy with the 2 quarters they were able to put together. So I think defensively they really locked in. I also want to talk about Chris Middleton. I think even though he's not all the way there yet, ramping up, he's really excelling in that third option kind of role. I think he's doing the little things in terms of rebounding, getting guys the ball, passing to open shooters, passing to open guys. So I think Chris, once he's fully there and fully healthy, I think he knows his role now on this team, and I think he'll really be good for us.
We appreciate you as you're just joining into the Cream City crossover. Bucks are winners 146-122 over the New York Knicks. Tish says Bucks stand up. Valerie O says let's go Bucks. Tish says it was a good win, but our issues are glaring on defense. Brooke and Giannis had their work cut out for them tonight. Dame nor Bees can guard a parked car. We'll talk about some of the defense in a second, but I do, to your point, Chris, again, you got to talk about the positives of this basketball team. And here's what I want to say. I looked at the games last night, and we're going to talk about the in-season tournament and some of the details about it. But I saw the games last night where Indy played Boston and who was it, Sacramento and New Orleans. And this tournament seems like a tournament that is geared towards, right, younger teams who are trying to find their way. I say all that to say this should have been a tournament that if any team was going to step up and really go for it, this was a game that the Knicks should have 100% been up for. They should have been the ones that were bringing it to the Bucks, because the Bucks have been there, done that. Bucks have won a title. The Knicks are a team that should be trying to show, they should be trying to show the rest of the league, hey, look, we're on the come up too, just like an Indiana team who went out and took it to Boston the other night. I just saw, and so I just had to say, when I see what happened tonight with the Bucks, it was like the master saying, hold on. I know this might be very important to you. And again, it is important. Again, we'll talk about it. But you saw how Indiana reacted last night. Bench going crazy, hopping up and down. Like Minnesota when they won the play-in game the other year. But for the Bucks, they've already done this. This ain't nothing. And so I just thought that it was a big deal for me that the Bucks, with really nothing on the line, no stakes other than $500,000 to guys like the Nassus and Malik Beasley too, because he's on a prove-it deal. To those type of guys, for $500,000, that's the only incentive for these guys. They don't have to prove anything to anybody. Matter of fact, win this tournament means nothing to the Milwaukee Bucks. So I thought it was just a big deal that you come out and you handle business. And the Knicks gave it a good shot, right? They put up 72 in the first half. They were scoring well, and but as I look at that game, you know, it seemed like it was going to be tough for the New York Knicks. This is a question too, philosophy wise, defensively. Are you okay giving up twos as long as you're keeping guys off the 3-point line? And again, the Bucks should shoot like this, of course, but I'm looking at a team where, okay, I'm okay giving up some of those shots as long as we're not getting drilled from three. And maybe it was a concerted effort. Maybe it was a concerted effort from the Knicks to get inside and try to draw fouls. I don't know why it happened the way it did, but in the second half, they didn't get the same calls that they got in the first half, and those shots didn't fall because they were getting to the basket, not getting the calls. And the Bucks defense, for better or worse, looked much better in that second half.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? That's a really good point about, are we just comfortable, right? We'll give you twos. We'll give you twos because we can. I think that can be frustrating, right? I 100% think that can be frustrating if you're giving up twos left and right, and we play what we call as the Swiss cheese D. Hey, look, we got holes in it, right? We'll guard the perimeter, but you get up in the middle. That's just how it works. Which, listen, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I do think the issue with that, though, is that if you are just going to play that kind of defense, right, prevent defense, prevents nothing, then I think you're gonna have to score. Your guys are gonna show up, and I think that strategy backfires on when you're having a bad night offensively.
Well, but that's the thing about this basketball team is it's built for offense, and yeah, I agree with you 100%. The offense is going to have to work, and don't let anybody downplay this. The New York Knicks, again, they talked about this earlier. They had a number 3 defense in the NBA, so this is doing this to a very good defense. Tom Thibodeau is one of those guys that preaches defense, and that's from his philosophy. They have defensive guys out there. Again, dare I say that the Milwaukee Bucks offense is unstoppable. And it's like, can you have enough defense to carry you the way? Do you feel like that when you watch this offense play? That it's just, I look at a guy like Malik Beasley, right? He puts up 18 points, is 5 for whatever, 6 for 10 from 3. Like the shots that you get as the fourth option or whatever, playing with Giannis, Dame, Chris, and Brook out there, it's just so many shots, and all you gotta do is knock them down. And that's what I was talking to you about, JT, the other night, where it's like, Derry Burr, your boy AJ Green. It's like, just go in there. You're going to be open. The shots are there. And this is a great, you talked about before as well. This is a destination place because, again, if you're a shooter, you should love this, especially now with Dame Lillard. You're getting shots. They're open all over the floor. Knock them down, and the Bucks are going to be solid.
Yeah, I think also to the point of just forcing people off of the 3-point line, you got to look at the interior, the defenders that we have. I think you're more than comfortable allowing teams to try to go score on the Twin Towers and Giannis and Brook. So I think that's definitely something that the Bucks could do, and I think they do have the offense for it, and the offense is potent enough to just outscore teams and then, make people get tough buckets on one of the best defending bigs in the league. So.
Yeah, no, I would agree with both of those points. I think so. Here's my thing, right? Obviously, Randall goes off. Right? Randall went off tonight. What Randall end up with? It's running somewhere on the screen. Yeah, Randall. So you're gonna give up points. You just have to pick. What do you want to get? What are you willing to sacrifice here? And that's the first thing. The second thing is, our offense is so deep, it's crazy. When our offense is clicking, it is so deep, it is crazy. We literally have 8 or 9 guys that could go off, which is nuts. And think about this, right? Because Crowder's missing too.
Yep.
Malik Beasley, right? And I know I picked Malik Beasley to be the key free agent acquisition. I picked Malik Beasley, and he is, right? Because Dame was a trade. Is there a better role player right now on a contending team?
That's a great question, JT. I'll kick that back to Chris because the question I was going to ask is, is Malik Beasley, and again, I saw this somewhere else too, is Malik Beasley, like I said, can he, you say best role player? Yeah, is he the best role player in the NBA? Is he the best 5th starter in the NBA? Like that 5th guy? Is he, he's definitely up there. But yeah, I think that's a great question. Chris, what do you think? Malik Beasley, is he the best 5th starter? Is he the best 5th starter that you've seen in Milwaukee Bucks for the last 5-6 years? Looking at those guys, talking about PJ Tucker, we're talking about,
Grayson Allen, all these guys.
Right.
Like these typical fifth starters have been acquisitions like Malik Beasley, who get to Milwaukee and all of a sudden they forget how to shoot. But he's seen an increase in what he's been able to do from three. So that's the biggest thing I look at when I think of best fifth starters is he's not slowed down. He's only got better coming to Milwaukee, and he's knocking down shots. So I mean, I can't think of anybody that's playing better than him right now in terms of around the league. But yeah, it's just been a pleasure to see him be able to knock down the open ones with the amount of looks that he does get.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has. And again, the offense it's super potent. They get every shot they want, and that's the thing. You talk about the difference between again this year and last year and years past is this offense gets whatever they want. Like I maybe there's been one game, and maybe it was the other night actually. I can't remember, was that against Chicago or whoever it was, where the Bucks went on a couple lows where they just couldn't score. You just don't see that. And again, it's because, again, Giannis is this great scorer, but Damian Lillard has opened him up as far as what he can do. There's still, we talk about it all the time, how much attention Damian Lillard brings, and guys are still doubling and trapping off him. He still finds his buckets. I thought Giannis made some great passes. He had 10 assists tonight. If guys are hitting shots, he's going to pay it off. Again, the question is going to be, the real question you talk about is, guys coming here and forgetting how to shoot is going to be, will they be able to shoot in May? Because I saw Javon Carter, look real good last year throughout the year. And then in the season in May, it's like, well, those shots ain't falling and you ain't playing defense. And, it's I think those are going to be a lot of your questions.
Well, I also think when they get to the playoffs, like you're going to have a guy like Jay Crowder, who we didn't get to see in the playoffs last year much. And, hopefully they're able to carry that momentum when they get to the playoffs. But just adding Jay back as a reinforcement is huge, because if Malik Beasley's not out there hitting shots, then you have Jay to go put in there and play some defense as well. And he'll be out there hitting shots, hopefully, too.
And speaking of that, though, am I the only one that thinks that this Bucks team is probably only operating at maybe 70-80% capacity? And when you think about, like, when this Bucks team really gets clicking and really gets rolling, wow. Right? Like, seriously. And I'm not just trying to be a homer here. Like, no, I'm just being honest here. Like, think about it. Middleton's still under restriction. You don't have Crowder in. You don't have your looks in. Let's say that you let Crowder play and Crowder do his thing, and then you bring Malik Beasley in off the bench, and then he just becomes literally, Mr. Spot Up 3. Look, we're going to find you. You just knock your shots down. Right? I just need you to knock down, at least half or as close to half as possible. Wow. I mean, there's just so much potential for this team.
I agree with you 100% on because you can't go from should they fire the coach in game 10 to it's a finished product in game 20. So no, 100. Yeah, no, they have not hit their stride. They haven't finished. This is not full force's team. Quiet as it's kept. I still think they're more. Forget reinforcements coming from Jay Crowder and Pat Connaughton getting back into this thing. Well, I don't know if Pat Connaughton will be here at the end, but I think there's a move to be made. And I look at Bobby Portis. That's a chip. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we need him. I really don't think we need him, but that's another story for another day. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit today as well.
We got 2-for-1 deal. We got Marjan Beauchamp. We got to put him on the block with Bobby Portis. They can share the trade block. They can share the trade block. And you know what? If we're feeling generous, we'll give you Pat too. All three of them. What Birdman say? All three of y'all. That's what Birdman told y'all. All three of y'all.
It's gonna be worth a discussion. I think there's gonna be some questions about that because I do want to get into that in a second. Drew Barron just says sometimes the best defense is having an elite offense. At Jay Horva,
Preach, Drew. Preach,
at
Drew.
J.R. Horva, noted Bucks hater, says love the closeout mentality. Now you do. Still need a perimeter stopper and elite defender. Get me Smart. What's Marcus Smart? Which again, that's a lot of those have been the rumors that people have been talking about.
What do you want for him? But yeah,
right.
What do you give up for him? But
right, and that's the team. That's the team that I think actually could maybe use a Bobby Portis in Memphis over there. So again, it's 100%. Good questions. Willie Lindquist says Bucks just sent the Knicks packing 3-party in MKE. Justin from NC, my guy, says good win tonight. Bees was insane, and we overcame the refs. This team is starting to gel, and Dr. Griffin did a great job. And then Marvin YNWA says best team in the league. And then Weekly Flow, I like this. Weekly Flow says this Bucks team is like AI. over time, it begins to learn more. It becomes so uncanny and scary how good it is. That is a good one. He's Weekly Flow saying the Bucks are like artificial intelligence, just
Yes,
getting
sir.
better till you. So they might take over. They're gonna take over. I like it.
Yes,
that's
sir.
good stuff. Any comment thoughts on that?
Listen, and I just love the listeners and their analysis. I mean, that is beautiful. My man made that. I mean, look, the AI analogy, boy, that is something. But it's so true, and it definitely hits. It's just over time, it gets better and better, and kind of improves itself. Honestly, I watch these games, guys, and I feel like, wow, we really, as Bucks fans, not we, because we went with them, some of y'all was really tripping 10 games in. Like, was really talking about, oh my gosh, fire Adrian Griffin. Oh my gosh, this is the worst. Oh my God, we got better. I'm using that voice partially because I got bronchitis, but yeah, like, oh my gosh, Mike Budenholzer, we got rid of him, and it's like, yo, just relax, because I'm gonna just tell you, game 20, man, I am way more excited than I was at game 10. Way more excited than I was at game 5.
So let's get to a couple things. So let's go to let's keep rolling. There was hot shooting. I do want to get on. We were on that. I didn't see that, but the shooting was good from throughout the game, like from the opening tip. I mean, these guys shot the lights out of the ball again, 60%. I don't think, again, that's not sustainable, but again, you should be able to shoot the ball very well. The Knicks, they're a good basketball team, but there's just so much space when you talk about opening this thing up and what you have. I'll just go through it. Chris from 3 was 2 for 3. Giannis hit 1. Brook was 1 for 4. Dame Lillard 5 for 7. Talk about another guy in Damian Lillard. Like, that's the guy we were waiting on to elevate. You talk about to get the final form. His November, by his standards, again, I think he still averaged over 20 points a night. And again, there was another stat. When Damian Lillard goes over 20 points, the Bucks are 13-1. In games the Bucks have lost, Damian Lillard's averages 16 points. So, right now, 20 points is the number where it's basically guaranteed win the Milwaukee Bucks if he can get over that number. Tonight, again, 28. But we've been waiting on him and his efficiency and for him to get going. 8 for 13 tonight. I'm just going to read out, talk about shooting. I'm just going to read out the field goal percentage numbers individually. Chris Middleton, 50%. Giannis, 68%. Brook Lopez, 50%. Malik Beasley, 54%. Damian Lillard, 61%. Bobby Portis, 55%. Beauchamp, 66%. AJ Green, 75%. Campaign, 83%. Thanasis, 100%. That's what you were dealing with tonight if you're the New York Knicks and you're watching this team come at you. There's no way to defend. I don't care how good a defense you play. And it wasn't like the Bucks were, again, a lot of these were threes. It wasn't like the Bucks was just lay up free plays to the rim. This is a shooting night. There was nothing that New York could do about it. That's how good the Bucks, and I've said this before about Bucks teams, but I think this team is the final form of that when you have a Dame and a Giannis where no, there's truly, when the Bucks are playing at their highest levels, I don't think there's anything you can really do about it.
No, and it's interesting that you bring this up about the shooting. You know what the Bucks shot from the field tonight? 60.4%.
It's ridiculous.
You know what the Bucks shot from the 3-point line tonight? 60.5%.
Ridiculous.
Yo. Can you believe it? The Bucks shot better from the 3-point line than they did from the field. And again, this is not talking about a little sample size, right? The Bucks attempted 38 threes tonight and made 23. Man, that is wild. The fact that the Bucks shot 60% from both and actually finished with a higher percentage from 3 than the field. Has that happened? I know that hadn't happened this season. I'd be hard pressed to believe that's happened, before this season. And I'm assuming that's probably. I know that's very rare for the Bucks to do.
Well, and speaking of scoring, so before the fourth quarter, the Bucks only scored 34 points. They said 37, 38, and 37. This was going to be the first time since Wilt, I believe. Now, this is the first time since I believe Wilt Chamberlain scored 100 against the Knicks that somebody had put up 37 each quarter. Again, the Bucks didn't finish it out because they only had 34. This thing kind of went off the rails. But yeah, it was a hot shooting night. And they played very well. And again, so it gets me to the next question. Chris King, What my man Prime say?
Do
Do
you
you
believe now?
believe now? Again,
go.
you talked about JT, a lot of naysayers, a lot of negativity within the Milwaukee Bucks fan base, and people crying about this and that, and the coaching. But the question I ask you now, and I know what the answer is for everybody here, but really the question is for other Bucks fans, and I think that probably the answer is, well, I don't know, I saw enough within 10 games to tell me they need to fire the coach, but these next 15, I don't know, I gotta wait and see. So the question now is, do you believe that this team is good enough right now? I don't want to say just to win it all, but because I think we do believe they can. I believe everybody believes this is a contending team and they can win a championship. But how confident are you right now? I'll give you scale 1 to 10 that this team is going to go do their thing, and you just have full confidence. Again, not in their ability that they can do it, but that they will. Yes, I have full confidence. I know you have the ability. But I got full confidence, not just in your ability, but you're 100%. You're gonna go out there and do it, because I know exactly. It's like you got that test, John Tyus. You know you've been waiting on that exam, and again, you know you can do it. But did you study all the way through? Did you make sure that that come exam day, you knew everything you needed to know? Are you sure at this point that the Milwaukee Bucks are going to come in starting in May, late April, and they're going to be well equipped for the test? We know they have the personnel to do it. You got Giannis, you got Dame, again, assuming full health. You got Giannis, you got Dame, you got Beasley, you got Chris. You got the pieces. Are they going to go in and do you have full faith they're going to go in and do this thing?
Here, I'll go first. On a 10-point scale, I'm gonna give you somewhere between 8.375 and 8.75, right? And here's why we're in the 8s. A, it's a very long time between now and May when we get these playoffs started. B, I don't know what this roster is going to look like, and I don't know injuries, all of that stuff. I don't know who's going to be available, right? We're keeping our fingers crossed that we're not dealing with, anything. But I would say, provided that nothing changes on the injury front, and this roster is similar with the exception of 1 or 2 players, right? And by 1 or 2 players, I mean like Marjan or Bobby's gone. Oh, yeah, I believe. I think they're going to handle business. I 100% think they're going to handle business, especially when I look at the trends and how this team is gelling. You look at this offensive firepower, but then you also look at the defensive potential there. And remember, we ain't got to play defense all game. If we just play defense in the fourth quarter when it matters, that's all that matters. The game is close, so we can play defense in the fourth quarter when it matters. Great. Yeah, I just don't see. I'll tell you this. I don't think there's a team in the East that can legitimately beat them. If the Bucks are clicking like this and they're deep in their back, even if we get into a slugfest with Boston, I think we got more horses. I think we got more horses.
Yeah, I'll go with probably about a 7 because I think still early, still got to see what shakes out at around the deadline, or if the Bucks make any moves. Jay Crowder coming back. But this kind of goes along with the hot shooting, right? Is the Bucks had 27 assists between the starters tonight. Like that, this is an unselfish basketball team that knows how to move the ball and get it to open shooters. So this is if we can keep seeing that consistently, the Bucks just being unselfish, letting the game come to them. I think this is one of the better offenses, better teams in the league. So yeah, I give it like a 7 right now, but that's very optimistic for how early it is.
Hunter Petty said 8. He laughed at the 8.375.
8.375, baby. Yes, sir. We complex numbers around here.
That's very good. MRC Sports says, I believe if we go get Marcus Smart and a good free agent, we'd be absolutely fine if this is done. Warren Price says, this team is good enough to win a title, but I don't have confidence we can beat the Celtics. Until we do, we have something to prove. Cream City 1846 stays. They're still finding their way and getting better at defense and knowing where the weak spots going to be at on the gamble. Charles says no trades needed. Let's keep the locker room bond going. And Nick C says Portis is the only minus on the plus minus tonight. Yeah, I do want to get in and talk about before we want to talk about this in-season tournament and what the Bucks have coming up here, let's do get on the negatives for 1 second. That defense, especially in the first half, left a lot to be desired. And I think, again, to your point, John Tyus, when you get in a scenario or a situation where you don't need stops all the time. You need stops when they're needed, right? And we talk about it all the time. Get us to that 7-8 minute mark, and it's a 2-3 possession game. I'm taking Giannis Dame over the lead. Now, the question is, can you get there? And what do you need to do to get there? And as you start to look, we're now hitting December. And come December 15, there's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be available to be traded. That date's a very important date to watch. So, what additions or subtractions from this Milwaukee Bucks basketball team? Because we talked about, you said 8.375 people giving their names, their numbers. What additions, subtractions do you want to see? I'll throw out a couple. I think a lot of people talk about, again, Bobby Portis, Marjon, Pat, some kind of combination-ish for a Marcus Smart. And then maybe you can find another kind of power forward to make up what you lose in Bobby Portis, because you still need another big. There's that question. And then there's the question of, we just saw, a guy, I'm just looking him up, PJ Tucker, okay, who hasn't been doing next to nothing out in Los Angeles. And there's a potential that you could get a PJ Tucker on a buyout. PJ Tucker just had a comment the other day where he said there's too many guys need the ball around here in Los Angeles. Who knows? They're not really using him. He's not scoring, not doing anything. Is he a guy that you could see on a buyout that comes to Milwaukee? Would you want to rekindle that flame, or there's another question? Because again, some people think PJ Tucker's washed. Is he washed? What name are there? Some names that you maybe want to see, and some names that you don't mind not seeing around in Milwaukee anymore? Again, and I'll say one name's not. I think I'm in the camp of being okay if Bobby Portis is no longer Milwaukee Bucks. I think I'm almost firmly in the camp. If he's there, cool. If not, I'm okay.
Chris, I'm gonna punt to you first.
No,
because Trey mentioned Anthony Leon Tucker,
no,
and y'all gonna leave that boy alone.
What PJ provides, I mean, he could step in, and I don't know if he'd necessarily get too many minutes on the way this team's playing right now, but I do think he would be a great locker room addition. He's been there, he's done that, and the guys like him. I believe. I don't think their little fallout was on any of the players or anything. I think that was a front office thing. So I think maybe. If you're PJ, honestly, you got to recognize like these last 3 whatever years have not been good for him, and so I think he needs to be the one to try to rekindle the flame, and then we'll take him on a buyout or whatever. It would be good for us. It would be good for the guys, I think, and it would probably bring a little bit more of a competitive spirit on defense as well if you have a guy like PJ Tucker out there. But look, I don't think I'm necessarily living or dying by signing PJ Tucker. At this point in his career, I don't think he has what he once had when he won the finals with us. So, that's the thing. I am ready to move on from Bobby. If we could get Marcus Smart, I would love that. That's essentially just grabbing basically another Drew Holiday, but you don't have to play him as much. And maybe Marcus Smart's shot selection is a little better. It's not that far off. But I would love Marcus Smart in a Bucks jersey, and he can get his get back on the Celtics for dealing with no warning. So that would be nice. It would be a good match.
Yeah, listen. I first of all, let me walk back. You mentioned Anthony Leon Tucker, right? My man Anthony Leon, who was at the Harp after the championship. He went. Most guys are popping bottles, probably at Lucid or somewhere else. He going straight to the Harp, right? Just go ahead and show you what kind of guy PJ is. Right, he's a man of the people. He walking down the street, literally walking down the street. I don't know if he got lost or if he was just like, I'm feeling it. Either way, right? Metro Market shopping PJ Tucker. Look, I would love it if you brought him back right now. The question that you have to really ask yourself if you bring him back is, what type of role do you want him to play? Because you have Jay Crowder, who's playing your perimeter defender, and I think Jay Crowder gives you much more offensively than PJ does at this point. So that's the question you got to ask is, well, what role do you want PJ to play? How many minutes are you looking for him to play? Even if he's quote unquote washed, okay. Well, in a game where we're in the if we're second round of the playoffs and we need him to really put it on somebody on the perimeter, and we need to spell some of our guys and give somebody a break and let him get in there, frustrated guys, see if he can create some turnovers, generate a ton of pressure, maybe give the guy to start looking off and looking to pass instead of trying to do anything. Whatever that is, okay, right? Is it a situational role for PJ? Okay. Is it a limited? Yes, right? I say we do that. Now, I think Marcus Smart gives us a lot more than PJ Tucker. The PJ Tucker does, but the question I have about Marcus Smart is, well, what do we need to give up? Because as it is, to me, the way I see it, I don't see Marcus Smart as a necessity. I see him as a very nice luxury at this point. And I'm like, man, if we got him, that would be dope. But I don't really see him as a necessity, right? Even though our point guards, they both are all of our point guards. Their defense is suspect at best. I mean, they might be able to play it here and there, but you can't really expect a whole lot. But I'm still on the camp of, if we're going to trade, I would like to look at big man first, because we are very, very thin when it comes to our bigs. I mean, obviously, really the only playable bigs you really have at this point, if you get rid of Bobby, are Giannis and Brook. So, if you're going to trade, you trade for a big man. I mean, do you look at do you kick the tires on a guy like Clint Capella that they may end up moving?
Yes,
I mean.
Yeah, no, in my opinion, because again, we're talking about the playoffs, right? And I got bigs for the playoffs, so I don't need, so I don't think I'm necessarily looking for a guy, because again, push come to shove, I don't need to play Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis, again, I've seen, again, Mike, I saw the Milwaukee Bucks beat the Brooklyn Nets, and Bobby Portis didn't play games 5, 6, or 7. So I don't necessarily need a backup big. I think a Marcus Smart, or again, I'm not even saying it has to be Marcus Smart. You may not be able to get him, but I'm really thinking about something that I need. I know Malik Beasley and Damian Lillard, and again, like you said, all of our perimeter defensive wings outside of Jake Crowder, and again, he's a little big to try and defend a point guard. I do think you need that perimeter defender, because there's too many straight line drives. Again, you look at what happened in the first half tonight. It was straight line drive, straight line drive, straight line drive, straight line drive, coming right to the basket. And then the guy who was there defending a ton of them was Bobby Portis, getting cooked. And so I do think they're going to have to, if I'm John Horst, I got to find somebody who I can plug out there for, 20, 25 minutes a night, that is going to be better than a Marjon Beauchamp, maybe going to be better than a Pat Connaughton. And again, I don't know, because the guy that naturally I think fits in that slot could be somebody like Andre Jackson Jr., but I don't know if you trust him yet as a rookie to say, hey, you can come in playoffs, give me 15 minutes, and I need you to lock. Let's say it's Jalen Brunson. I need you on Jalen Brunson. I need somebody to get me Donovan Mitchell. Hey, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are cooking. You go get Jaylen Brown right now and slow him down. Like, there's a